Hey y'all, so today what I'm going to talk about is how I got out of $65,000 worth of debt, and I'm going to give you 7 ways as to how you can do the same thing, just copying exactly what I did. Because I'm always talking about how you should get out of debt, build an emergency fund, and then simplify your life, but I haven't made a video showing exactly what I did. So that's what we're here today to do. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Kiyomi, I'm going to put you down. You got to go over here. So, first thing that happened, my wife forced me to budget. Now, she doesn't like for me to say that she forced me, but really that's what happened because she worked with me for months. We first got married and she was always coming to me, Richard, you gotta budget, you gotta budget, you gotta budget. Because she had started watching Caleb Hammer on YouTube. And so after seeing him, railway people because they weren't financially responsible, she was doing the same thing to me. So to make peace, I sat down one day, I said, okay, you got it. And it changed my life financially. I'm thankful. And it's real simple that as far as what she did. Simple. Got on Microsoft Excel, free Microsoft Excel. She got my credit card statement, my debit card statement, saw what I had going out each month. And then what we did on the Excel is we just put all the information in. Then I put in what I was making every 2 weeks, and then I was able to see what I had going out and what I had coming in. And it was different for me than just looking at my bank app or, just seeing my statement each month. This was like a dynamic spreadsheet that I could look at, real simple, but I was able to now make decisions and say, okay, I want to cut spending here. I want to up my credit card payment here. And then over time, even though I had a low income job, I started to save more. I started to have an emergency fund. I started to actually make moves that were good for me financially. And that all comes from my wife forcing me to budget. Here's the next thing that happened. I started using my debit card for everything. Every single purchase I made, I started using my debit card. And the reason why this worked for me was that unlike my credit card, where I didn't see what was coming out and then I just got hit by a bill at the end of the month, the debit card made me feel the pain because as soon as I spent something, I saw it come right out of my account and it hurt. It was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can save for this. And then by the time I saved for it, it was like, you know what? I don't even want it anymore because the little bit of money that I see now coming in and building up my bank account, I don't want that to go out. And that's what you get when you start using your debit card for every purchase rather than using your credit card. Now, I'm not against credit cards at all, but I'm just saying for me to be able to get out of debt, I started using my debit card for absolutely everything. Next thing I did, and this was huge, I cut back on eating out. Dude, me and my wife, we would go to these restaurants. There's no lie, we got a little Korean barbecue spot we like to go to. If we go there and we just get the regular buffet, we're dropping at least $80. But now, if we go to H Mart, which is right down the street, pick up the same things and cook at home, it's about $45, $50 max. And that's what was happening. I was, oh no, let's go out to eat here, let's go out to eat there, and just blowing money. Another thing that I was doing that was blowing money relating to eating out was I was living on DoorDash. And while I don't have too many bad feelings about Instacart, I've seen some stuff about them, using AI to do dynamic pricing and try and price everybody as an individual as soon as they log on with an algorithm. That sounds demonic to me, but apparently that's what they're doing. I hadn't completely lost it with Instacart yet because I cook at home like a madman now. But DoorDash, hey, let me tell you something. If you haven't already noticed, which I know a lot of you have, DoorDash, okay, so you're paying for the food, then you're paying the hidden fees, then you're paying the delivery fee, then you're given a tip. By the time you finish all that $15 meal that you could have bought at the restaurant for $15 is now $50. How many times have we gotten on DoorDash and had that happen to us? You talk about eating out at the restaurant. When you eat out at the restaurant, there's some costs that go with that. You gotta drive, you gotta find parking, you gotta tip the waiter or the waitress. You gotta hope that the food is good, because if it's not, you're cooked, because you still gotta pay for everything, just like how you did earlier. I don't know, man. It didn't help me to continue to eat out. As soon as I cut back on it, I saved a major amount of money. Now, these next set of things that I'm gonna name, these are controversial, and these are what I did. You don't have to do them, but I'm just telling you what I did and what I think would work for most people, but hey, that's neither here nor there. I was a believer and still am a believer in balance transfers. Now, if you don't know what a balance transfer is, that's when you've got a high interest credit card, but another credit card company is willing to pay that card off and have you pay the remaining amount in 18 months, 12 months, 24 months at 0% interest before they hit you with their 24%, 30% interest. Now, the reason why companies do this, it's not because they're oh so nice and cute. They do this because you do have to pay a balance transfer fee. So that's how they make their money. They make their money off the balance transfer fee, and they make their money when people do not pay off the balance transfer in time. This is what I did. I made sure as soon as I initiated a balance transfer, I would take the amount that I had to pay, and I would divide it, of course, by the time that I needed to pay it in. And then if I knew I wasn't gonna be able to pay it 6 months out, I just did another balance transfer with another card. Now, you have to be wise about this, because you can have several balance transfers going on with several different cards, and you can end up in a hole. So you have to be disciplined. And that's what I was. I was disciplined, and this helped me tremendously in being able to pay off that giant debt that I had accrued, over 65K. Next thing I did, this is also controversial, personal loans. So this kind of goes in with balance transfers. Personal loans are things like, for example, if you log on to Credit Karma or something, they'll say, okay, based on your credit, here's this company that's offering you a personal loan. My story, I was about, I think at that time I had knocked my debt down to about $40,000. And my credit score was very good because I always made sure to pay off my bills in time. And American Express was offering like 40K for a loan at 5%. I looked at all my expenses, like all my credit cards that I owed on, and all those interest rates were above 5%. So it made financial sense for me to take the loan. I took the American Express loan, paid off all my credit cards. My credit score shot up, which could help me if I needed any more loans or anything like that. And then I had a lower payment and was able to keep paying off that one personal loan. And really, more so than calling it a personal loan, it's really a debt consolidation loan is the way you want to look at it. It is another thing that is extremely dangerous if you're not disciplined. And this one is not as easy to just, go and get help with like you can with balance transfers. This is a pretty risky move. But now I'm gonna tell you the absolutely most risky move that I did in order to get out of that $65,000 of credit card debt. And mind you, all these things helped me to start to pay it down. Now this one, I do not suggest to you if you are an older person, and if you're younger, you really might wanna think deeply about this. I absolutely drained my retirement accounts. I had 2 retirement accounts. I had one for one job, I got it out of there. Had another one for another job, I got it out of there. And this is why I did that. I started to think, okay, based on how my life has gone as a millennial, how much faith do I have that my retirement is actually going to work out, and that my retirement is better for me to have right now rather than getting out of this debt and then being able to build one with a lot more autonomy and being able to make a lot more personal moves. That was my risk reward. And I said, yeah, let me get these retirement accounts out of here, draining them 401ks. And guess what? That was a big thing that helped me to get out of debt. And it worked out for me because even though I drained my retirement accounts from back then, the retirement accounts that I have now are worth more, and I'm not building them knowing that I got to pay off a whole bunch of debt. I'm debt free. So I can build up my retirement accounts, and I can even add a little bit more if I want to. Take a little bit more out of my check to put towards my 401k. So, you know, if you're an older person, I don't know if this is something that you want to do. But if you're a younger person, it's something that you may really want to think about, because, you know, before you click off and say, oh no, this is crazy advice, let me ask you something. 10 years ago, was a college degree worth it? It was, right? Is a college degree worth it today? Let's move on. Last thing I did, any extra money that I got, it all went towards paying off debt. I'm talking bonuses, I'm talking settlements, I'm talking friendly gifts, family gifts, everything I had, I threw it at my debt. I used everything I could to get out of debt. And I am happy to say today I am debt free. The only debt I have is the debt that I gotta pay for when it comes to my house, which is my mortgage. Everything else, I'm thankful and I'm debt free. So that is how I was able to get out of $65,000 of debt. Hopefully you don't have that much, and hopefully these suggestions that I gave you will help you. And that is exactly how I can say, hey, get out of debt, build an emergency fund, and simplify your life. The next video, I'm going to talk to you exactly about how I have built up a $30,000 emergency fund for myself. Tune in for the next video. In the meantime, y'all have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.